guys, okay, so I've got an eco hack for you. So we throw away so much. We already use so much plastic, and it's like we have to be more conscious because we can really use so much of it. So I wanted to share two things. So I buy a lot of like spinach and lettuce and mixed greens, the big ones and then the small ones like this. These make great little storage containers. I know they're not super classy, but sometimes they're like you store stuff and it just goes in the back of a cabinet or it goes somewhere where it's not going to be like front and center. These make great little containers, and they're see-through so you can see what's in it. So they're actually really great. The large ones are really good too. So reuse these, don't throw them away. Just all you have to do is rinse them out, like clean them, and then you can reuse them. And it's just like we use so much plastic, we have to be responsible. And it's also going to save you money from containers because the container store is like $97 for a little container like this. Also, like this is my lunch for tomorrow. So I actually up here, I'll show you. Up here, I just throw the extra ones because I use a lot of these. I just throw them up here because I know that I'm going to use them at some point. Now, don't become like hoarder status and have 16 cabinets full of those. So sometimes you might have to toss them, recycle them, but just try to use them as much as you possibly can. Okay, the other thing that's so easy, like literally I'm making dinner. I'm doing this jar tomato sauce. Don't yell at me. I don't have time to make it from scratch. Anyways, these jars are so great. So I make my own candles. A lot of times this isn't a good candle jar, but it is. I also keep a bunch of herbs. So like this was a salsa container. Now it holds rosemary. Don't mind my very fancy label. This was also a spaghetti container. Now I've got dried roses in here for my next big dream that I'm doing. So I'm like creating a little apothecary like in my herbal, with all my herbal stuff. And the jars are perfect for it, but also you can use it for so many things. Like, oh my God, don't get rid of candle jars. You can reuse them. Like I have the little teeny jars that I put bobby pins or Q-tips in them in my bathroom. Like find the moral of the story. Whatever you're using, try to find another use for it instead of just throwing it away. Because if you just throw it away, it's going to sit in a landfill. Another thing, I know I said two things, but like when you buy pens, like the whole idea is just to become really conscious about this. So when you buy pens, when you go to rebuy them, are you buying the refills or are you just throwing this whole plastic pen away and then buying the same pen over again? You see what I'm saying? Like just start to really conscious about your usage and your impact on the planet, because if we all were a lot more conscious, there would be a huge impact. Like I used to always say, use the back sheets of paper. Don't just throw papers away. Like my dad actually taught me this. He used to have a whole stack of like, I don't know if everyone does this or this is just something he did and showed me. Like I have a stack of printer paper and then I have a stack of paper that like I write on the back of it. It's already used, but I don't need to throw it away because there's a whole backside for all of, the random notes that you. Okay, so last one. So for feminine hygiene products, like we don't need to be using disposable things, okay? So tampons, first of all, most of them are really actually not good for you. You're putting like toxins up there and it's absorbing into your system. So number one, make sure you're at least using organic cotton tampons or organic tampons of some kind, but I wouldn't even use tampons. Like get a Diva cup or get some other, there's lots of different options now, but don't be using something that you're continuously throwing away, especially, God forbid, Tampax or something like that you're throwing away all those plastic applicators and it's just not good for your body. You can also get reusable pads, or they have like underwear that you can actually bleed into. There's so many different things you can use where I really just like the reusable pads, and you just wash them. Like you soak them in water, get the blood out, and then wash them in the washing machine, and it's so easy. Okay, so I'm gonna have to make more of these videos because I literally have I'm like, oh, and say this, and say that. There's so many things that I do that I don't even like realize. So comment below, like if you have extra ideas, just so other people can see it, because this helps like Mother Earth so much. And it also like, yeah, it's good for everybody. So the moral of the story is really just become very conscious of how much plastic you're disposing of on a regular basis, like, and how can you make the best of it? There are recycling companies like TerraCycle is one where you can pay for a bag and then put all your stuff in it and ship it back to them. Really just look at how much plastic am I using, and then you're like, oh my God, like, I'm sorry, Mother Earth. And how can you make the best of it? How can you reuse as much as possible? And how can you shop differently?